The subject that I'm supposed to be addressing is the 7 C's and how you can deploy it to become successful. Success is not just a wishful thinking. It requires you to be ready to take certain actions. The 7 C's that were chosen from a book by Brian Tracy. It talks about clarity, competence, consistency, confidence, character, connection, contribution. Now, these are self-explanatory, all right? I mean, you can tell what is clarity. You can tell what is competence. You can tell what is consistency and what is confidence, what's character, what's connection. You can explain it any which way it suits you. But I'm going to use it to drive message home. You will have to design a way to become a solution or to create a solution. All right? So, and for you to create a solution, you have to first of all identify a problem. Now, when I was working in a technology company in Nigeria before I traveled abroad, something that I was doing, I was reading up materials about people whose names are mentioned, prominent people. I was just reading about them, trying to find out what they were doing, what made them prominent. I wasn't reading sciences. I was studying people. Now, something happens when you read. You do not realize that you're gaining knowledge until when issues show up before you. So I was reading. So you must study. You must, when you identify what you need to do, try and gain knowledge in those areas. It is not wasted. You'll be doing yourself a lot of good. Consistency. You need to be consistent. Now, a few years down the line, I had some executives came to see me from Egypt, from a prominent security company. So when we sat in the hotel having a chat, and I asked them, how did you discover to talk to me? They said, we looked in Nigeria and you're one of the companies that were, or as at that time, security focused. A number of other businesses were doing many things: security, hardware, software, connectivity, internet connection, all kinds of things. But they profiled all the companies and they realized that I was one of the few security focused companies. Now, I didn't know I was security focused. So I borrowed that from them. That was when I realized I was security focused. But I knew that my calling, the problem that I wanted to solve, were purely security. So I did not accept to do hardware. I did not accept to do software. I remained focused. So I was consistent in my learning. I was consistent in my communication. I was consistent with my audience. And I was consistent with the people that I speak to and the thing that I talk to them about. And that also helped me to build competitive advantage and gain some level of trust with my customers. So you have to be consistent. And you have to be confident about things you do. Now, one day, I reached out to a company in my quest for solutions. I reached out to a company in the US and I said I wanted to resell their product. Okay? And they said, okay, we can give you an opportunity, but you have to come for a training. And the training was going to cost me about $5,000. I didn't have the money and I agreed. Long story, I'll cut it short. And I accepted. So they sent me a letter asking me to come, but they put a clause there that before they could confirm my travel, I must have paid the $4,500. So I said to myself, apply for visa first. So I went to the interview. So when I sat in front of the guy who was interviewing me, I could hear him tell people came with big files, family pictures, landed properties, and all kinds of things. And they would tell them, no, they're not convinced. No, they're not convinced. And I thought to myself, some came with cassock, they dressed in their different regalia. So I went to him. And then he asked me, why did you want to go to the United States? And I said, I wanted to go for a training. He said, do you have money? And I said, no. So how have you been surviving? And I told him, I was just speaking to him. Half of the things that I said, I did not know if they were correct. But when I was done, the guy said to me, you sounded convinced. I'll give you visa. I had no bank statement. All right? Of course, I had none. He didn't have a chance to ask me for the bank statement because we were involved in the conversation. And I gave him answers confidently. So you've got to build connections. And your connection will not always be because you want to gain something from them. Let your connection be because you want to contribute into their lives. Invest in people. Give people your time. Serve people. Contribute into their successes. Do not expect anything in return because you do not know who will give you back in return. So, finally, in whatever job that you find yourself, do it like it is your own. Take ownership.